Alright, welcome everybody to this Stronghold Purifier build update for 1.2. So this is a Purifier, right? So a Demolitionist and Inquisitor, and it is basically based around the 3-piece Stronghold set. We have the revolver, the shield, and the belt, right? So this is actually a pistol and shield build. And then also on top of that, I am using the 4-piece Shattered Ram set. You can like play something more offensive or like even more defensive, depending like what you want to do. But as our set is generally like a very defensive choice, and this does help me like with my physical resistance being kind of high, armor not being, well, at least not like pure paper, and with Inquisitor's seal we have like, well, 116k DPS, which isn't insane, but it's at least like something, right? And for me personally, this is pretty much the only like pistol purifier that I actually like playing in hardcore, that I kind of like feel comfortable with playing, because I feel like all the others, like the gun and so on, they kind of just, I mean, they have more damage, but they feel so papery, like, I don't know, I can't really like play them in hardcore at least. Maybe on subscore they're like actually good though. So yeah, we're playing Fire Strike, right? It's just pew pew basically, and we proc like a bunch of weapon pool skills. As you can see here, we have the Corvax brand, which gives a 20% chance to proc the Corvax brand like weapon pool skill. We have 25% chance from the Stronghold set to fire like a volley of like shots here as well. 4 projectiles, 25% chance. This projectile right here, right? So that's 45% chance to proc, and then we have another like 20, 20, and 20 here. So we are at like 105% proc chance overall, which means it's a little bit inefficient, but I mean 105% is like still not all too bad, and you just want to like have at least 100%. Also, these 3 are like only 1-pointers, so I can't really like save any points by like pulling some points here. I'll just have to like accept that I have like 105% like weapon pool skill chance. I also had another setup, like my old setup for this build, right? It was a little bit tankier, but even less damage, and I used a different metal on that one, and then I used like a Seal of the Void to get like additional weapon pool skills instead. This one is currently not playing any Seals of the Void, which means I have, well, Enchanted Flint on my shield, because this one has an aura. It gives you like also flat fire damage, like globally, even for your gun, right? But you can't put enchanted flints into your gun. But at the same time, you do really want to get like physical to fire conversion, because you don't quite have like full physical fire to conversion, like physical to fire to conversion on this set. And there's like no skill modifier for Fire Strike really on this build, except for the one from the Corvax brand, which only gives you weapon damage and doesn't convert like anything to fire. So you do want to like use 2 components that have like physical to fire conversion, and since you can't put enchanted flint on your gun, I'm gonna use Seed of Destruction here, which is usually only used for the Stormfire like skill, but in this case I'm actually gonna use it just for the conversion and percent fire damage and like the flat fire damage of the skill, like of the component itself as well, which is going to be local for the gun. So here it's like kind of nice to have this one on the gun and then the aura on the shield. So like here you're only like using the flat fire damage from the component, but not the flat fire damage from the aura at least. And you do gain the percent fire damage globally from both the component itself as well as from the aura. Like that's always going to be global. Overall, the conversion in this case is 30% from the set, right? The 3-piece set, 15% from the gun, 18% from the shield. So if you get like 17 and 18% like high rolls, you get like 35%, you get like 65% from the entire set basically. The belt has no conversion. And then you get like another 10% from each component, so you have like 85% physical to fire conversion, which is not 100% obviously, not quite, but it is like not all too bad, and that converts like the physical damage, for example, from Explosive Strike, and all the physical damage that you get from Temper, as well as from Steel Resolve, right? So that is like pretty decent to like max out these 2 to get like all the flat damage, and then of course you also want to like max out the Flame Touch, right, for more flat fire damage and percent fire damage. And we might as well like talk about the skills from the Demolitionist side now, right? Fire Strike maxed out, of course. Explosive Strike at 12 points. I personally don't believe like putting more than 12 points is like really worth it here usually, so I like stop at 12 points here. Static Strike only a 1-pointer on this build, because you do not convert lightning to fire really on this build, so kind of like low value. And then Brimstone has 16 points with like fire and chaos damage, which will be added to the primary, like the initial projectile, as well as to all the fragments. And if you proc like weapon pool skills like these, right, you can like have Brimstones proc from all of the other like projectiles as well. You can see like these like little Brimstone projectile like fragments here, right? They can like proc like crazy sometimes, and like shotgun enemies as well. And that's kind of like where pistol Fire Strike builds get like their AoE damage from. Of course, at least 5 points in blast here, right, for defense. 10 points can be better and more advised for like harder content. 22 points thermite mine, of course, for the resistance reduction, right? Resistance reduction being one of the best like multipliers for damage for endgame, so you want this like as high as possible. 1 point in flashbang, 1 point in searing light for like DA shred and like fumble and impaired aim debuff. If you have like more spare points, sure, put like more in flashbang to get like more DA shred, that's kind of nice. Then you want to get at least 11 points in vindictive flame, right, for the total speed. 11 or 14 are like kind of like the sweet spots here. And then, well, 1 point in Uzin's Wrath. It's honestly just kind of useless, but I mean, 1 point is fine. Inquisitor 3, right, 10 points at least in ranged expertise for attack speed and percent elemental damage. 1 point in auto weapon pool skills, because yeah, we don't really like have that many points to play with, first of all, and second of all, we just want to get to like 100% weapon pool skill chance here, I think, and that is pretty decent. The funny thing that I noticed when you're like playing a one pistol and a shield, if you're like using Storm Spread, you can actually see there's like more than 4 projectiles here, right? And like it's double shooting, so it's actually like 8 projectiles that you get when you like use Storm Spread with like 1 gun. And the same is actually the case for the Stun Blast as well. It says like 4 projectiles, but it's actually 8 projectiles, right? You can actually get like, it's like double shoots, right? It's like actually 8 projectiles. That's kind of like nice to know. And of course, like bursting round is just like 1 projectile, and then like this one is also actually 2 projectiles, because it's also like double shooting. There you go. And like both of those like can pierce through enemies. Word of Renewal, of course you want like at least 13 points here, right, for like defensive ability, the ability to heal, less damage taken from Chthonians, more movement speed. 13 is kind of like the sweet spot where you want to stop, usually. Putting more points is not really worth it. 6 points Vigor. If you had like squishier gear and you needed more HP, I would probably put more here. But as it stands, this build only has 1 point here. And then 18 points Steel Resolve for like percent elemental damage, more damage to Chthonians and Eldritch, Aether, Chaos Resistance, and then also most importantly flat physical damage, which we convert to fire by like what was it, like 85-ish%, right? 84% I think, 83% I think actually with my rolls. Then the Inquisitor Seal, of course, want to max this out, right? This is one of your primary like defensive skills combined with Blast Shield. This is your absorption. And then also, since you ideally want to stand on it all the time, there's also Arcane Empowerment, which gives you like again percent all damage, flat pierce, flat elemental damage, and crit damage. The pierce damage, unfortunately, on this build is not as effective as like physical damage, for example. You don't really like convert that too much. I have like one ring that converts like some pierce to fire, but that's it, so it's not like that crazy efficient actually. So like Arcane Empowerment would be like a skill where you could pull points from if necessary. And if you have to like kite a lot, since you're not a two-hander, you have like 5-second cooldown on this, so like standing still on this all the time for like 5 seconds until you can like reposition and like cast another one can sometimes be like quite annoying. So unless you can like hop from seal to seal, right, like this, yeah, like having to recast the seal is not as easy here as it would be on a two-hander when you had like basically no cooldown on this. And that's also like one of the reasons why I don't like one-handed or dual-wield pistol Purifier all too much, and rather would play two-handed. But I mean, it's still like too good to not use it, honestly. I feel like I rather would like them to like reduce the cooldown to like 3 seconds or something by default, and then just like remove. I mean, why do like two-handers need more cooldown reduction on this? I don't get it. Anyway, 1 point to deadly aim. I mean, I like it, right? Like, I like that you have, like, such a low cooldown on two-handers. But, like, why is the cooldown so long on, like, pistols, though? I don't know. They could make this, like, just work for, like, all ranged weapons, I think. Instead of, like, 200 melee and 200 ranged weapon, should be, like, just work for all ranged weapons instead. So you can't really like abuse it too much when you're like playing melee or a caster. But it's good if you're like playing a pistol, right? And I think pistols or like ranged weapons in general like need the help. Melee doesn't need the help. 1 point deadly aim, right? I mean, it's a great 1-pointer to get like up to 4 points here is always very, very good. Above that, it's kind of inefficient, so only 1 point here. And then last but not least, of course, Aura Sensor, right? This is amazing. Elemental resistance reduction, percent targets damage reduction, an aura that you don't have to like care about. You don't have to like cast as like Thermite Mines, not as annoying to cast like Thermite Mines, right? Very, very good exclusive and, well, the only one that you can play here. For devotions, what I'm playing right now on this character, or this new updated version, is well, Torch, Phoenix, Magi, Crab, Crown, Witchblade, and then actually Rat, and Viper, and Lotus and Panther. So if you want to be like more defensive, you can play obviously Turtle, right? Turtle instead of Panther. You would have to sacrifice 1 point in the Torch though, which is quite a big damage node. And you could also try to sacrifice either Phoenix or Crab, and then you don't have to like play the Rat. And then you could like easily fit into Turtle and like maybe even Ghoul, for example, like go more defensive. Crab is more like a mix of offense and defense. I'm not 100% sure if I like it on this build. I mean, generally it's really good on this patch, but like on this build in particular, I'm not like quite sure if I like it all too much. But I tried to like fit it in here on top, which means I had to pick Rat and Panther instead of like Turtle and, for example, Ghoul, which like the old setup I think had. So yeah, not quite sure about that. The Rat might seem like weird, right? But it has actually like 35 Cunning and 35 Spirit, which is for a tier 1 devotion ridiculously good. And also like 10% poisonous on top, which I think on a Purifier is like never bad to get either. As you can see, like poison pierces a little like, I like poison a little low, so getting some more poisonous from devotions isn't bad either. Other than that, resistances are like at least like 25% overcapped usually, right? Bleeding is a bit like less important, of course, elemental being a bit more important, but I mean this build has like elemental without trying anyway, because it's like a Purifier, I guess, and like most of the gear nowadays just gives it like a fuck ton of elemental rest anyway. Talking about the other gear that I'm using here, I'm currently using a Dominator's Alexander's Choices of Readiness. There's like many different pants you can use here. You can use like the legendary like Hellforged leg plates, I think they're called, or some blues, or like tons of greens. You can like play Solal for more leech, you can play like Dreek for more stun rest and OA, or for example these for like +3 to Steel Resolve and +3 to Temper for like more flat physical damage, which I'm trying to make use of here with the conversion. Dominator's prefix obviously giving you physical resistance, and Readiness giving you OA and DA. For the gloves, Obsidian Grass is basically the best you can go here. This is literally the best item, but it's blue, which is a little like uncommon. But in this case, Obsidian Grass is actually insane because it can roll up to 7% physical resistance, and 7% physical resistance is absolutely nuts for gloves. So this is really good. And on top of that, like percent fire damage, burn damage, flat fire damage, some poison rest, and +2 to flame touched, and +2 to temper. So there's like tons of flat damage in this item, and attack speed and physical resistance. So this is like, there's no legendary that's better than this, honestly. You might be like lucky and like craft like an insane like yellow pair of gloves with like perfect rare affixes on top, right? But other than that, nothing is gonna like beat this item. For the boots, I think you have like multiple like options here as well, just like with the pants. But this one is, I think, pretty nice. It gives you like stun rest, petrify rest, OA, DA, and +2 to Thermite Mine, and +2 to Aura Sensor. So this basically has 4% resistance reduction on these boots as well. The percent damage is a little low, the armor is a little low, and it's like a level 84 item, but it's honestly like overall still like very good on a build like this. So yeah, this puts me to overall like 37% physical resistance, like 80% freeze, petrify, 71% slow rest, 62% prep rest, 0% reflect rest, but honestly, like as long as you have like enough leech and you're like playing an elemental damage type, it doesn't really matter too much. Attack speed 197, not quite 200%, but there are ways to like get 200%, either with like different devotions or like some different like rolls on gear maybe. Shouldn't be all too hard. And then percent fire damage, of course, 2.4k here, which isn't all too high, honestly. Inside the seal it's a little bit higher, right? Like 2.560 right here. That's fine. 9% leech. This is arguably very low. And honestly, if I didn't need the conversion on the fucking component, I would have used Seed of Blades here to get more leech, to get like 14% leech. But as it is, it's a little rough with like that getting conversion and getting like physical resistance or getting like leech at the same time. So that is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Physique, right? As much physique as you need to wear the armor. This is a heavy armor, so we need to like get 1035 physique. Cunning, you need like 511, I think, for this pistol. And then everything else in Spirit, because Spirit is the one stat that actually like boosts our fire damage. So you have like another like 300% fire damage here basically, which puts the overall damage to around like, what should it be, like around like 2.9k I think. Yeah, 2560 and then like 340 on top basically. Yeah, it's like almost 2.9. I mean, this is not like super crazy damage, as we're gonna see here as well with the dummy kill time. But at least it's like a safe and playable Purifier, honestly, which there aren't all too many of on hardcore. At least not with a pistol. Right, so like 13 seconds kill time here, which is honestly like very respectable still. Like it's for a build that's somewhat tanky like this, it's really good damage. If you want to check out the build in action, of course, like keep watching here. There's gonna be some gameplay for like SR 80-81, Ravager, and yeah, so if you want to do like stuff like Ravager, the Ravager kill is actually I think still on the old Devotion page. So the old Devotion page was overall like a little bit tankier. The new one I didn't run the Ravager on yet. I mean, I assume it's also possible, but it will probably involve even more like kiting and, you know, like playing to the build's strength, which is being ranged and, well, not face tanking all too much, even though it's tankier than the average Purifier. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you around on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to check out and expand the description below for Grimtroll's links and related playlists. Shoutout to all of my supporters on Patreon, YouTube and Twitch. Without you guys, this channel wouldn't even exist. If you are new to this channel and you like my content, feel free to like, subscribe and head over to my Patreon to support me. All of your support will be used to create more Grim Dawn guides on YouTube like this, as well as additional Grim Dawn content for the upcoming community seasons. If you haven't heard of or played a community season yet, you can do so at any point, even when it's offline, via the website grimdawnleague.com. I hope you enjoy the content, and I'll see you around on the next one.